Welcome back to Business on 570 News Radio, powered by Cowan Insurance Group. It's my pleasure to welcome back Lindsay Reid, pension and retirement consultant with Cowan Benefits, to talk about trends in group retirement programs. Welcome back, Lindsay.
Thanks, Greg. Always happy to be here.
So I'm always interested in trends. I'm interested in fashion trends. I'm interested in right now. I've let my hair grow from COVID, and I'm interested in hairstyle trends, which I haven't found anything that I really like. But we're talking about retirement pension plan, group pension plan trends. So let's start along the lines of there's a lot of buzz around financial education in the workplace. So are really employers starting to take a whole lot of time with their workforce and trying to educate them on financial wellness and how to prepare for retirement?
Yes, financial education has really become a hot topic lately, and I think for really good reason. It's not just a trendy thing that companies are doing to look good. One of the big shakeups in the latest version of those retirement plan guidelines, those CAP guidelines that we chatted about in an earlier segment, is that education shouldn't be treated like a one-time onboarding step. In the past, you might have been handed a brochure when you joined a company, maybe sat through a one off presentation, and that was it. But now there's much more of a push to make financial education a regular thing. So think like mini refreshers, bite sized videos, helpful nudges when it actually matters, like when you get a raise or hit a milestone birthday. It turns out that when people actually understand what their retirement plan does for them, they're much more likely to use it and, even more importantly, to appreciate it. That helps with participation rates. And from an employer side, it can really help with retention too, because when folks know you're supporting their long-term goals, they're more likely to stick around. So, yeah, financial education at work isn't just really nice to have anymore. It's becoming something people expect. And I think that employers that do it well really stand out.
Yeah, it's fascinating because I think years ago, and you probably appreciate this just from an opinion perspective, it might have been a little bit taboo to kind of talk about, you know, programs internally that are, basically financial planning of their employees. Some employees would say, I don't want my employer to know too much about my
Hmm.
own situation. Well, it's not about the employer finding out too much. It's about the employer providing opportunity for the employee to learn more and how they
Absolutely.
implement that in their life. But there's a new kind of some plans are offering a new kind of fund too, which this is kind of interesting actually,
Hmm.
and it's something faith based.
Hmm.
This is really interesting because I know there are some faiths who have different opinions on how investments are handled.
Yes.
So give us some idea as to what this is all about.
Yeah. So, what you're referring to and what you're hearing about is Sharia compliant funds. Basically, they're built for people who want their investments to line up with Islamic values. So they avoid industries like alcohol, gambling, even interest based finance. The cool part is, it isn't just like a niche thing anymore. Canada's Muslim population has grown a lot over the last decade. In 2001, 2% of the Canadian population was Muslim, and this increased to about 5% in 2021. So more companies are offering these funds to make sure their plans are inclusive and reflect the diversity of the workplace. I think it's a smart move, but honestly, it's also just the right thing to do.
Yeah, yeah. No, that's true, and I think when we look at society in general to make sure that everyone is included, and we need to make sure that these ideas and programs are brought forward. Retirement plans used to just be RSPs and pensions. Are companies offering more options now? Because in my day, that's all it was.
Yes, yes, it is a whole new ball game. A few years ago, if your employer offered you a pension plan or maybe an RSP, that was considered pretty solid. But now companies are realizing that financial wellness means different things for different people, depending on their life stage, their savings goals, and to be completely honest, their wallet. That's why we're seeing group retirement plans evolving into more of a financial support toolkit. You still, of course, have your classic RSPs and pensions. These are still, your bread and butter. But now many employers are adding tax-free savings accounts for short or medium-term goals, first home savings accounts, which are perfect for employees trying to break into the housing market, which is very difficult right now. On top of that, some plans are now including student debt repayment programs, which is huge because let's face it, it's hard to think about retirement when you're still wrestling with student loans. I think
Mhm.
these ancillary benefits show that employers get it and want to support employees with what matters right now, not just 30 years from now. So, yeah, what used to be a one size fits all savings plan is now becoming sort of like a menu of options that meet
Mhm.
people where they're at in life. And honestly, that flexibility is what makes these plans way more relevant and way more appreciated.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Well, we're going to have to leave it there, Lindsay, but we're going to have you back next week for the final segment in this series, which is the human side of retirement plans, what employees actually care about. This one's going to be an interesting one, so you'll want to join us next week. So we've been joined by Lindsay Reid, once again, pension and retirement consultant with Cowan Benefits Ltd. Thanks for joining us, Lindsay.
Thanks for having me.